It was a Monday morning, the kind of morning where the city buzzed with energy. New York had a way of making even the most ordinary moments feel cinematic. Cars honked impatiently, people rushed down sidewalks with coffee in hand, and skyscrapers stood tall, indifferent to the lives unfolding beneath them. Inside my office on the 23rd floor, I was sipping my second cup of coffee, reviewing a presentation for a client meeting in an hour. Everything felt normal, until my phone vibrated on my desk. A message. From Daniel. I hadn't expected a message from my husband so early in the day. I smiled slightly, thinking he might have sent something sweet. Maybe a reminder of our dinner plans? Or a simple "good morning, babe." I picked up my phone and tapped the notification. My breath caught in my throat as I read the words on the screen. "Sarah, it's over. I'm leaving you and moving to Miami with my 20-year-old babe. Don't contact me." I blinked, rereading the message as if my brain couldn't process it. My heart pounded in my chest, a sharp pain spreading through my ribs. I gripped my phone tightly, my fingers trembling. This had to be a joke. A cruel, tasteless joke. My hands moved on their own as I dialed his number. It rang once, then went straight to voicemail. I tried again. Same thing. Panic spread through me like wildfire. I stood up so fast that my chair screeched against the floor. My coworkers glanced at me, sensing something was wrong, but I couldn't focus on them. I grabbed my purse and bolted out of the office, my heels clicking against the polished floor as I rushed toward the elevator. I needed to go home. Now, as the elevator doors closed, trapping me in the small mirrored space, I stared at my reflection. My face had lost color, my brown eyes wide with disbelief. This wasn't happening. By the time I reached our apartment building, my heart was hammering so hard I could barely breathe. I fumbled with my keys, struggling to unlock the door. When I finally stepped inside, I gasped. Half of the apartment was empty. The bookshelves, once filled with Daniel's favorite crime novels, were bare. His side of the closet? Cleared out. The framed wedding photo that had sat on the bedside table? Gone. A cold wave of realization crashed over me. He had planned this. He hadn't just left me. He had erased himself from our life as if I never existed. I sank onto the couch, my hands gripping my phone like a lifeline. I tried calling again. Blocked. Tears blurred my vision as I opened Instagram, searching his profile. What I saw made my stomach turn. There he was, in Miami, lounging at a rooftop bar with his arm draped around a young blonde woman. The caption read, "New beginnings with my queen." The comments were flooded with fire emojis and congratulations. Some people from our social circle even commented, as if this was something to celebrate. My hands clenched into fists. Was this real? Was everyone just okay with this? A notification popped up. "Lisa, call me now." I tapped her name, and she picked up on the first ring. "Sarah, have you seen Instagram?" Lisa's voice was filled with rage. "That son of a..." I choked out a bitter laugh. "I saw it, Lisa. He left me. Through a text." There was a pause. Then, softly, she said, "You need to fight back." I wiped my tears, my grief shifting into something else. Something dark. Daniel thought he could humiliate me? That he could walk away and live happily ever after? He had no idea what was coming. The silence in the apartment was unbearable. I sat on the couch, gripping my phone so tightly that my fingers ached. The walls around me felt like they were closing in, suffocating me in the emptiness Daniel had left behind. Just hours ago, I was living my normal life, completely unaware that my husband had been planning to discard me like yesterday's trash. Now I was alone. The weight of the betrayal settled on my chest like a brick. My throat felt tight, my breath shallow. I wanted to scream, to throw something, to demand an explanation, but there was no one to answer me. The man I had loved, trusted, and built a life with was gone. And worse, he had left me in the most cowardly way possible. Through a text. A text. Tears burned my eyes, but I refused to let them fall. I wasn't going to sit here and drown in my grief. I needed answers. I needed to know how long this had been going on, why he had done this, and where exactly my life was supposed to go from here. I stood up, my legs shaky but determined. My first instinct was to check our bank account. If Daniel was truly leaving me, had he at least been decent enough to split our money fairly? Or had he been just as ruthless there too? I grabbed my laptop and logged into our joint account. My heart pounded as the screen loaded. But when I saw the balance, my stomach twisted into knots. $134.77. My breath hitched. This had to be a mistake. I refreshed the page. Same number. I clicked through the transaction history, my hands shaking as I scrolled through the withdrawals. Over the past month, Daniel had been draining the account little by little, $5,000 here, $10,000 there. And then, 2 days ago, he had emptied the rest in one final transaction. He had left me with nothing. I let out a shaky breath, my fingers gripping the edge of the laptop so hard my knuckles turned white. I had been blindsided. Betrayed not just emotionally, but financially. He had set me up to fail, ensuring that when he walked away, I would have nothing to stand on. But why? Was I really so disposable to him? A cold realization slithered down my spine. He hadn't just left me. He had planned this. Carefully. Methodically. Like a criminal covering his tracks. I clenched my fists. I wasn't going to let him get away with this. But first, I needed to know more. I grabbed my phone and dialed the only person I knew could help me. Lisa. She picked up instantly. Sarah, tell me you're not still sitting in that apartment crying over that scumbag. I swallowed hard. I checked our bank account. There was silence. Then a sharp intake of breath. How bad? He took everything, Lisa. Every last cent. My voice cracked. He left me with nothing. A string of curses exploded through the phone. That bastard. Oh, he is going to regret this. I pressed my fingers against my temples. I need to find him. I need to know how long this has been going on. I need to. Lisa interrupted, her voice steel. First, you need to breathe. And then, you need a lawyer. A lawyer. The thought hadn't even crossed my mind. I had been so consumed with the emotional betrayal that I hadn't even thought about the legal side of things. You're right, I admitted. But I don't even know where to start. Lisa sighed. I'll send you the number of a divorce attorney. But Sarah, I closed my eyes, bracing myself for what she was about to say. This isn't just about money. This is about your dignity. That man humiliated you in front of everyone. He abandoned you in the coldest way possible. You don't just get a lawyer. She paused. You get revenge. Revenge. The words settled in my chest. A slow-burning fire replacing the raw ache of betrayal. I had spent the past 12 years being the perfect wife. Supporting Daniel. Standing by him through thick and thin. Believing in his dreams. And this was my reward? No. He didn't get to walk away clean. He didn't get to leave me broken while he ran off to Miami with his new trophy girl. He was going to regret underestimating me. I wiped my tears, straightened my spine, and took a deep breath. This wasn't the end of my story. It was just the beginning. I didn't sleep that night. I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, my mind racing with questions that had no answers. How long had Daniel been planning this? Had he ever loved me? Or was I just a placeholder until something younger and shinier came along? And most importantly, how could I make him regret ever crossing me? By morning, exhaustion weighed heavy on me, but I forced myself out of bed. I had 2 things to do today. See a lawyer and find out everything I could about the woman Daniel had left me for. I wasn't just going to cry and move on. I needed the truth. And if the truth was ugly, I would use it to destroy him. Meeting Lisa. Lisa arrived at my apartment by noon, her expression a mix of rage and determination. She wasn't just my best friend. She was the kind of woman you wanted on your side in a fight. Fiercely loyal, brutally honest, and never one to back down. The moment she saw my face, she dropped the coffee she'd brought onto the table and pulled me into a hug. You look like hell. Gee, thanks, I muttered. She pulled back and scanned my face. I mean it. Have you eaten? I shook my head. Food was the last thing on my mind. Lisa exhaled sharply and walked into my kitchen. I swear, Sarah, if you don't take care of yourself, how are you supposed to take down that piece of garbage? I sank into a chair as she rummaged through my fridge, cursing when she found it nearly empty. Unbelievable. He took your money and left you with no groceries? The man has no soul. I let out a dry laugh. Tell me something I don't know. Lisa pulled out a box of cereal and placed it in front of me. Eat. Then we talk. I stared at the cereal, my stomach twisting in protest. But Lisa's glare made it clear that I had no choice. I forced down a few bites while she pulled out her phone. Okay, she said. Let's start with the obvious. Who the hell is this 20-year-old homewrecker? She pulled up Daniel's Instagram and scrolled through the Miami photos. I clenched my jaw as I stared at the woman in his arms. She was young, blonde, and beautiful in a way that made my 38-year-old self feel ancient. Lisa tapped the screen. Her name's Tiffany Lawson. According to her profile, She's an influencer, model, and entrepreneur. She rolled her eyes. Translation: she takes pictures in bikinis and sells teeth whitening kits on Instagram. I let out a bitter laugh. Great. He left me for a woman whose job is to post selfies. Lisa frowned, scrolling deeper into the profile. Wait a minute. This girl looks familiar. I leaned in. What do you mean? Lisa didn't answer right away. She pulled up a new tab and started typing. After a moment, she gasped. Oh my God. She turned the phone toward me. Sarah, this girl was dating an older businessman last year. It was a huge scandal. She drained him dry, then dumped him for someone richer. My blood turned to ice. I grabbed the phone, scrolling through the article. There it was, Tiffany's name in bold, linked to some real estate mogul who had mysteriously lost a huge chunk of money before she moved on to her next victim. My pulse pounded in my ears. Daniel had no idea what he'd gotten himself into. Lisa grinned. Oh, this is good. This is really, really good. I swallowed hard. How? Lisa leaned in, eyes gleaming with mischief. Because this means she's not in it for love. She's in it for money. And if Daniel isn't as rich as he pretends to be, a slow smile spread across my face. She'll leave him, just like she did the last one. Lisa nodded. And when she does, we'll make sure it's public. Embarrassing. The kind of fall from grace that he never recovers from. For the first time in days, I felt something other than despair. I felt power. I might have lost everything, but so would Daniel. And when he finally realized what a mistake he'd made, I wouldn't be there to save him. I sat across from Lisa in my dimly lit apartment, my heart pounding as I stared at the photos of Tiffany on her phone. This was her, the girl Daniel had thrown away 12 years of marriage for. Blonde, slim, a face that looked perfect even without makeup. She had that effortless beauty that made people stop scrolling on Instagram. But behind those full lips and flawless skin was something else. A pattern. I read the article Lisa had found, my hands tightening into fists. This wasn't Tiffany's first time replacing a man's wife. It wasn't even her second. She had a history, a track record, of jumping from one rich man to another, always leaving them worse off than when she found them. And Daniel had no idea what he had just gotten himself into. Lisa leaned back, smirking. I have to admit, Sarah, I almost feel bad for him. I raised an eyebrow. Almost. She shrugged. Well, not really. But you have to appreciate the irony. He left you for this girl thinking he won some prize. And in reality, he just handed his life over to a shark. I exhaled slowly, my mind racing. How long had he even known her? Had he been planning this for months? Years? I needed answers. Digging for the truth. Lisa, I said, sitting up straighter. We need to find out everything. How they met. When it started. If he was cheating before he sent that text. Lisa grinned. Now you're talking. She pulled out her laptop and started typing. Okay, let's start simple. His email? Did he ever change his passwords? I shook my head. Not that I know of. Then let's see if he was dumb enough to use the same password for everything. She typed in Daniel's old email and guessed a few combinations. The third one worked. My stomach twisted. This was my husband. A man I had trusted. And now I was hacking into his life. Lisa clicked through his emails, her face unreadable as she scrolled. Then she stopped. Oh, my God. I swallowed hard. What? She turned the screen toward me. There it was. An airline confirmation. A flight booked 2 months ago. One way. To Miami. For 2 passengers. I gripped the edge of the table, my nails digging into the wood. He planned this. He planned to leave me months ago. Lisa scrolled again. Not just that. Look. I leaned in, my stomach sinking. There were hotel reservations. Dinner reservations. Jewelry receipts. All dating back nearly a year. Nearly a year. This wasn't some whirlwind romance. Daniel had been seeing Tiffany behind my back for months. While I was at home, cooking him dinner, washing his clothes, believing we were happy, he had already moved on. I stood up so fast my chair nearly fell over. My chest burned with anger, humiliation, rage. Lisa watched me carefully. Sarah, what do you want to do? I clenched my fists, my nails digging into my palms. I wanted to scream. I wanted to break things. I wanted to destroy Daniel the way he had destroyed me. But I took a deep breath. No, I couldn't let emotions drive me. If I was going to take him down, I needed a plan. I sat back down, forcing my voice to stay calm. First, I need to know how much money he has left. Lisa's eyes lit up. Now you're thinking like a woman on a mission. The financial truth. Lisa started clicking through more emails. Bank statements, credit card bills, investment accounts. What we found shocked us both. Daniel wasn't as rich as he pretended to be. Not even close. Sure, he had some money. But the way he had been spending? The flights, the five-star hotels, the expensive dinners, the gifts? It was bleeding him dry. Lisa let out a low whistle. Oh, this is beautiful. He thinks he's living the high life, but in reality, he's burning through his savings. Fast. I stared at the screen, my heart pounding. If Tiffany realized Daniel wasn't as wealthy as he seemed, she would leave him, just like she had left the last one. Lisa grinned. All we have to do is speed up the process. I met her gaze. And how do we do that? Lisa leaned forward, eyes gleaming. We make her think Daniel is broker than he actually is. We make sure every time she looks at him, all she sees is a financial disaster. A slow smile spread across my face. I like this plan. A new mission. We spent the next hour brainstorming. Step 1. Find a way to make Tiffany question Daniel's finances. She was in this for money. If she started doubting whether he could actually provide that lifestyle, she would start pulling away. Step 2. Expose Daniel publicly. He had humiliated me by leaving in the most heartless way possible. I wanted the world to see him for who he really was. A cheating, broke, selfish man who thought he was too good for his own wife. Step 3. Take back my life. Because I wasn't just doing this for revenge. I was doing it because I refused to let Daniel's betrayal define me. Lisa closed her laptop and grinned. Sarah, by the time we're done with him, Daniel is going to wish he never sent that text. I exhaled, my heart steady for the first time in days. I wasn't just a heartbroken wife anymore. I was a woman with a plan. And Daniel? He had no idea what was coming for him. I wasn't just hurt anymore. I wasn't just angry. I was ready. Daniel had humiliated me, betrayed me, stolen from me. And now, thanks to Lisa's brilliant digging, I knew the truth. He had been seeing Tiffany for almost a year, secretly draining our money while playing the role of a faithful husband. And now? Now he was living in Miami, pretending he was a wealthy man, while his bank account bled dry. Lisa was right. If we wanted Tiffany to leave him, all we had to do was speed up the process. Step 1. Planting doubt. The first step in any war was psychological. Tiffany was young, beautiful, and clearly materialistic. She had a pattern. She used rich older men, squeezed them for everything they had, and then moved on when the money stopped flowing. So, what if she started thinking the money had already stopped? Lisa grinned as she pulled up a contact on her phone. I know a guy who knows a guy. I raised an eyebrow. Lisa, who exactly do you know? She winked. You remember David? That guy I dated who worked in finance. I nodded slowly. Well, he owes me a favor. And guess what? His new job? He manages financial reputations. My heart sped up. And you think he can make Daniel look broke? Lisa's grin widened. Sweetheart, by the time we're done, Tiffany will think Daniel is in so much debt, she'll run faster than an Olympic sprinter. She made the call. David, darling. It's Lisa. She leaned back on the couch, twirling her hair. I need your expertise. No, it's nothing illegal. Just a little financial rumor spreading. I watched as she explained the situation in her usual charismatic way. By the time she hung up, she was practically glowing with excitement. Okay, here's the deal, she said. David is going to make sure that when Tiffany looks up Daniel online, all she finds are reports about financial troubles. Late payments, bad investments, rumors of debt. My mouth fell open. You can just do that? Lisa smirked. You'd be surprised how easy it is to manipulate information. All we need is for Tiffany to start doubting Daniel's financial future. The moment she questions whether he can afford her lifestyle, she'll start looking for her next victim. Step 2. Public humiliation. The next step was to expose Daniel for the cheater he was. He had humiliated me by leaving in the most disrespectful way possible. He hadn't even had the decency to sit down and talk. He dumped me in a text message. So, I was going to return the favor, publicly. Lisa and I spent the next 2 hours drafting a post for Instagram. A post that would go viral. I stared at the words we had typed, my hands trembling slightly. Once I posted this, there was no going back. Lisa placed a hand on my shoulder. You ready? I exhaled slowly. I had never been more ready in my life. I hit post. Step 3. Let the fire burn. Within minutes, the comments exploded. He left you by text? This is disgusting. He's trash. OMG, I always thought he was shady. Wait, So he was cheating with a 20-year-old? The post spread like wildfire. Friends, coworkers, even people I hadn't spoken to in years started messaging me, offering support. And then, the Miami crowd found it. People who knew Tiffany. People who had seen her in action before. One comment in particular made my blood run cold. Tiffany was dating my cousin last year. She maxed out his credit cards and left him when his business started failing. She's a gold digger, 100%. Lisa burst out laughing. Sarah, this is better than I ever could have hoped for. People are talking. By tomorrow, Daniel is going to be the joke of the internet. I sat back, staring at my phone. The notifications were endless. And then, something unexpected happened. A DM from an unknown account. I hesitated for a moment before opening it. Unknown. Hey, I know you don't know me, but I need to tell you something about Tiffany. Call me. It's important. Lisa and I exchanged looks. Do it, she whispered. My hands trembled as I dialed the number. A woman's voice answered on the first ring. Sarah? I swallowed. Yes. Who is this? A pause. Then, in a quiet, urgent tone, she said, My name is Vanessa. I was Tiffany's best friend until she stole my fiancé. And if your husband is with her now, he's in serious trouble. The room felt smaller. The air heavier. My fingers clenched around the phone as Vanessa's words echoed in my head. If your husband is with Tiffany now, he's in serious trouble. Lisa leaned in, her eyes wide with curiosity. I hit the speakerphone button. Vanessa, what do you mean? What kind of trouble? There was silence on the other end, then a slow, steady breath. Tiffany isn't just a gold digger. She's a scammer, and not the small-time kind. She ruins men, financially, emotionally, sometimes even legally. Your husband thinks he won the jackpot, but trust me, Sarah, he just walked into hell. A cold shiver ran down my spine. Start from the beginning, I said. Lisa grabbed a notebook and pen, ready to take notes like we were detectives solving a crime. Vanessa sighed. Tiffany and I used to be best friends. We grew up together, went to the same college. She wasn't always like this, but somewhere along the way, she realized she had a gift. Men worshipped her. She learned how to manipulate them, make them think she was their dream girl. Then, when they were all in, she'd take everything and disappear. I exchanged a glance with Lisa, my pulse quickening. How bad are we talking? Lisa asked. Vanessa let out a humorless laugh. Let's just say, I've seen her bankrupt men in less than a year. She's had them buy her cars, apartments, even fake businesses that she never actually started. The last guy? He got hit with a lawsuit because she took money from his company, spent it all, and vanished. I gritted my teeth. And you said she stole your fiancé? Vanessa's voice grew bitter. Yeah, his name was Ryan. We were engaged, planning our wedding. Then Tiffany came along. She played the sweet, innocent girl, acted like she admired him, made him feel special. Within months, he left me. She drained his savings, maxed out his credit cards, and the moment he started struggling financially, she left. I finished for her. Vanessa sighed. Exactly. And now? She's doing the same thing to your husband. Lisa leaned back, shaking her head. Sarah, this is better than I ever could have hoped for. Daniel didn't just cheat. He doomed himself. I swallowed hard. Daniel deserved everything coming his way. But still, I had to admit, this was bigger than I expected. I turned back to the phone. Vanessa, why are you telling me this? A pause. Then she said, because I lost everything because of her. And if I can stop her from ruining someone else's life, even if it's a cheating husband, then maybe that makes up for it. Her words settled in my chest like a weight. Lisa, ever the strategist, tapped her fingers on the table. Vanessa, do you still have any contact with Tiffany? Vanessa hesitated. Not directly, but I still have some of her old messages. Proof of what she's done. Lisa's grin was almost wicked. Then I think it's time the whole world finds out who Tiffany really is. Setting the trap. The next morning, I woke up with a plan. Step 1 was already in motion. The Instagram post had gone viral. Daniel's reputation was crumbling. People were talking, gossiping, dissecting every detail. Now, it was time for step 2, using Vanessa's information to expose Tiffany. I met Lisa at a cafe downtown. She was already on her laptop, scrolling through old messages Vanessa had forwarded to her. Oh, this is juicy, Lisa said, sipping her coffee. Tiffany literally texted a guy about faking a business just to get him to invest. She scammed over $50,000 from him. I clenched my jaw. And people still fall for her. Lisa smirked. Men don't think with their brains when a girl like Tiffany walks in. I exhaled sharply. So what's the next move? Lisa spun her laptop toward me. We leak this. I scanned the screen. It was an email Vanessa had drafted, an anonymous tip to a popular Miami gossip blog. Tiffany Lawson is not who she pretends to be. She has a history of scamming rich men, stealing money, and destroying lives. Attached are messages and receipts of her past schemes. My heart pounded. If this went live, Tiffany's entire reputation would crumble. Daniel would see the truth. I took a deep breath. Was I really about to do this? Then I thought about the text message. The cold, heartless way Daniel discarded me. I thought about all the nights I stayed up wondering where I went wrong, when in reality, he was the one who destroyed our marriage. And I clicked send. The explosion. The blog post went live that evening. Within an hour, it was everywhere. Scammer alert. Miami influencer Tiffany Lawson exposed for financial fraud. Men beware. This woman is not who she pretends to be. The comments exploded. OMG, I knew she was too perfect. She was dating my friend's uncle. She took all his money. Daniel better run. Lisa's phone rang. She checked the screen and smirked. Guess who? I exhaled. Daniel. She nodded. You want to answer? I stared at the phone, my emotions swirling. Then I shook my head. No. Let him burn. Lisa grinned. Good choice. The beginning of the end. That night, I poured myself a glass of wine and scrolled through my messages. People I hadn't heard from in years were reaching out. Even Daniel's own friends were messaging me, apologizing for his behavior, saying they had no idea he was capable of this. But the best part? Tiffany had deleted her Instagram. Lisa texted me a screenshot. Looks like our girl is in hiding. I smiled, sipping my wine. Daniel left me for a fantasy. A beautiful lie. And now, that lie was unraveling right before his eyes. I didn't know what would happen next. But one thing was certain, this wasn't the end. This was just the beginning. The morning after the blog post went viral, I woke up to my phone vibrating nonstop. I groggily reached for it, my heart pounding as I saw the number of missed calls from Daniel. 10 calls. I smirked. Oh, now he wanted to talk? I ignored them and checked my messages instead. Lisa, Sarah, have you checked Instagram? You're going to love this. I sat up, suddenly wide awake. I clicked on the link she sent me. And there it was. The meltdown. Tiffany loses it. Tiffany had reactivated her Instagram, and her latest story was pure panic. A shaky video of her in a luxury high-rise apartment. Her eyes red, her voice high-pitched. I don't know who's spreading these lies about me, but this is slander. People are so jealous of my success that they're trying to ruin my reputation. None of this is true. If you believe this garbage, you're just a hater. I snorted. Oh, honey, you don't even know what's coming next. Lisa called me, her laughter ringing through the phone. Sarah, this is comedy gold. She's losing her mind. I leaned back, watching the comments flood in on her video. Girl, just say you got caught and move on. Tiffany, we have receipts. Try again. If this wasn't true, you wouldn't be this pressed. And then, Daniel's name popped up. A new comment. Daniel_M. Tiffany, is this true? I almost dropped my phone. Lisa screamed. Oh, my God. She was practically howling with laughter. He asked her on a public post? I grinned. Lisa, we broke him. Lisa wiped away a tear. Sarah, this man left you for this woman, and now, in front of the whole world, he's questioning her loyalty. Poetic. Justice. Daniel's world falls apart. I ignored Daniel's calls all day. But by nightfall, he stopped being subtle. A new text popped up on my phone. Daniel, Sarah, please, call me. I need to talk to you. I stared at the message, my emotions twisting. This was the same man who had coldly thrown me away over text. The same man who, just weeks ago, thought I was beneath him. And now? He was begging. I took a slow sip of my wine. Then I typed back. Me. Now you know how it feels to be discarded over text. And then, I blocked him. Lisa nearly fell off her chair when I told her. You're my hero. I shrugged. I'm just getting started. The Miami drama. 2 days later, Lisa sent me another screenshot. It was from a Miami gossip page. Breaking, Tiffany Lawson and her millionaire boyfriend Daniel spotted in a heated argument outside a luxury condo. Witnesses say she was screaming, "You lied to me." I burst out laughing. Lisa was giggling. Sarah, this is officially better than reality TV. It got worse. More screenshots surfaced. Daniel looking stressed in a restaurant. Tiffany throwing a drink at him. People whispering, speculating. And then came the real kicker. Someone leaked an audio recording from inside the restaurant. I clicked play. Tiffany's voice was shrill. You told me you were rich. You made me think we had a future. Daniel's voice, low and frustrated. I do have money, but things are complicated right now. Tiffany, complicated? Oh my God, are you actually broke? Lisa was screaming. Sarah. She said the magic words. I grinned. Oh, she's gone. She's so gone. The final blow. By the end of the week, Tiffany ghosted Daniel. One day, they were still being seen together. The next, she was completely missing. She deleted all their pictures, stopped responding to his messages. And Daniel? Daniel started posting sad quotes. Not everyone you love is meant to stay. Betrayal hurts the most when it comes from someone you trusted. Lisa and I were dying. Lisa snorted. Sir, you betrayed your wife first. Now you're acting like a heartbroken victim. I shook my head. This is better than I ever imagined. Daniel had thrown away 12 years of marriage for a woman who left him in less than a month. And now, he was alone, taking back my power. One evening, I stood on my apartment balcony, staring out at the city. Lisa was inside, pouring wine. So how does it feel? I thought about it for a moment. Did I want Daniel back? Absolutely not. Did I feel bad for him? Not even a little. Did I feel powerful? Yes. I turned to Lisa and grinned. It feels like freedom. Lisa clinked her glass against mine. To freedom. We drank. And for the first time in a long time, I felt at peace. The morning after Tiffany dumped Daniel, I woke up feeling lighter than I had in months. Lisa had crashed at my apartment the night before, and when I walked into the kitchen, she was already scrolling through the latest Daniel drama. Morning, sunshine, she said with a smirk. Hope you're ready for some tea. I poured myself a cup of coffee, arching a brow. What happened now? Lisa turned her phone to me. A new post from one of Miami's gossip pages. Sources confirm that Tiffany has officially moved out of Daniel's apartment. Spotted last night leaving with her designer luggage. A friend close to the situation says she blocked Daniel on everything. I spit out my coffee. Lisa cackled. Girl, she didn't just leave. She left like a thief in the night. I wiped my mouth, trying not to laugh. Wow, he didn't even see it coming. Lisa leaned back. That's the best part. He thought she was his new beginning. Meanwhile, she was plotting her exit the whole time. I took a slow sip of coffee, savoring the irony. So, where is Daniel now? Lisa scrolled, then grinned. Oh, you're going to love this. She turned her phone to me again. Daniel was back in New York. The return of the fallen king. Daniel had posted a picture of himself at the airport. His caption? Sometimes life doesn't go as planned. But we keep moving forward. The comments? Savage. Bro, just say she dumped you and go. Miami chewed you up and spit you out, huh? Not you coming back after ruining your marriage. Lisa giggled. He thought he was going to start a new life with Tiffany. Now he's back, tail between his legs. I stared at the screen, my emotions tangled. A part of me felt vindicated. But another part? I wasn't done yet. Lisa must have sensed it because she tilted her head. You're quiet. I took a deep breath. Lisa, what's Daniel coming back to? She frowned. What do you mean? I set my coffee down. He left his job. He broke his lease. He burned every bridge. What does he have left? Lisa's eyes widened. Oh my God. He has nothing. I nodded. And that's where the fun begins. Step 1. Cutting off his safety net. Daniel's biggest mistake was assuming I would still be there. That I would wait for him to come crawling back. But what he didn't know? I had already filed for divorce. And thanks to the lawyer Lisa recommended, I had done it strategically. By the time he landed in New York, Daniel would find out. 1. The joint bank account was closed. 2. His name was removed from our apartment lease. 3. He was officially served with divorce papers. And the best part? I had scheduled the divorce papers to be delivered the same day he landed. Lisa stared at me like I was a mastermind. Sarah, this is evil genius level. I'm so proud. I smirked. He thought he could leave me over text, and then come back like nothing happened? No. He's going to learn. Lisa raised her glass. To Daniel's reality check. We clinked glasses. And then, we waited. Step 2. Watching the collapse. That evening, Lisa and I were at our favorite rooftop lounge when my phone buzzed. Daniel. I held up the phone to Lisa. Here we go. I answered, keeping my voice neutral. Hello. A beat of silence. Then, Sarah. His voice was low, tired, defeated. I sipped my drink. Daniel. To what do I owe the pleasure? He sighed. I got the divorce papers. I raised an eyebrow. Good. That means they were delivered on time. He was silent for a long moment. So that's it. No discussion. I laughed. Daniel. You divorced me over text. What discussion was I owed? His breath hitched. I messed up, okay? I thought I was making the right choice, but things didn't go how I planned. I took another sip. That's not my problem. He exhaled sharply. Sarah, please. I don't have anywhere to stay. Can we just talk? Lisa covered her mouth to keep from screaming. I leaned back, enjoying the power shift. Where's Tiffany? A bitter laugh. Gone. I smirked. Good. I let the silence stretch before speaking again. You made your choice, Daniel. And now? You live with it. His voice cracked. Sarah, please. I hung up. Lisa grabbed my hand, eyes wide. Sarah, you won. I let out a slow breath, feeling the weight of everything lift. I know. Step 3, thriving without him. A week passed. Then 2. Daniel tried reaching out a few more times. He sent long messages, apologies, regrets, pleas. I ignored them all. Instead, I focused on me. I got a promotion at work. I started going out more. I met new people, reconnected with old friends. One evening, I was at a gallery event when Lisa nudged me. Sarah, she whispered. Look who just walked in. I turned and froze. It was Daniel. Alone. Looking rough. His suit was wrinkled, his hair unkempt. He had bags under his eyes. Lisa grinned. Oh, this is about to be fun. Daniel's gaze locked onto mine. He started walking over. My heart didn't race. My hands didn't shake. I felt nothing. He reached me, swallowing hard. Sarah, can we talk? I took a slow sip of my champagne. Then I smiled. No. And with that, I turned my back on him, just like he had turned his back on me. Lisa linked her arm with mine, beaming. Let's get out of here. And as we walked away, leaving Daniel in the past where he belonged, I realized something. I was finally free. It had been 2 months since Daniel came crawling back. 2 months since I turned my back on him and walked away without a second thought. And life was good. I had moved on. I was thriving at work, reconnecting with old friends, and for the first time in years, I felt truly happy. But Daniel? He was a ghost. Every now and then, I would hear whispers about him. A friend would mention seeing him at a cafe, looking tired and unshaven. Lisa swore she spotted him at the train station one evening, alone and lost in thought. But he never tried to contact me again. It was like he had finally accepted that he was nothing more than a relic of my past. And that should have been the end of the story. But ghosts have a way of coming back. A familiar face. It was a crisp Friday evening when it happened. Lisa and I had just finished dinner at an upscale rooftop restaurant downtown. We were laughing, tipsy from too much wine, when we stepped out onto the sidewalk. That's when I heard someone call my name. Sarah? I turned, my smile fading. And there he was. Daniel. He looked different. His once meticulously groomed beard was uneven, his suit hung looser on his frame, and the light in his eyes? Gone. For a moment, we just stared at each other. Lisa, standing beside me, crossed her arms. Oh, hell no. Daniel swallowed, his Adam's apple bobbing. Can we talk? I sighed, already bored. About what? His jaw clenched. Please. Just 5 minutes. Lisa looked at me, waiting for my cue. I could have walked away. I should have walked away. But some part of me, some small, curious part, wanted to hear what he had to say. So I nodded. Lisa groaned. Fine. But I'm staying right here. Daniel exhaled like he'd been holding his breath. He took a step closer, lowering his voice. I messed up, he admitted. I raised an eyebrow. I know. His lips twitched, almost like he wanted to smile, but there was nothing but sadness in his eyes. I lost everything, Sarah. His voice was hoarse, filled with regret. My job, my money, my home, her. I tilted my head, and his shoulders slumped. And I deserve it. For the first time in months, Daniel didn't look arrogant. He didn't look like the man who had smugly thrown me away over text. He looked like a man who had finally realized his own foolishness. But that wasn't my problem. I took a deep breath. Daniel, what do you want from me? His eyes flickered with something I couldn't place. I don't know, he admitted. Forgiveness. Lisa snorted. Oh, you're funny. I smiled slightly but shook my head. Daniel, I already forgave you. His brow furrowed. You did? I nodded. A long time ago. Because here's the thing. Forgiveness isn't for the other person. It's for you. Holding on to anger would have kept me trapped in the past. But by letting it go, I had won. Daniel swallowed hard. So, does that mean we could? No, I cut him off. He blinked. I gave him a small, polite smile. Forgiveness doesn't mean a second chance. His shoulders sagged, and for a moment, I almost felt sorry for him. Almost. I adjusted my purse strap. Goodbye, Daniel. And this time, I walked away for good. Lisa, beaming like a proud mother, threw an arm around my shoulders. That was iconic. I laughed. Let's go home. As we walked off, I didn't look back. Because some ghosts are better left in the past. The night I walked away from Daniel for the final time, something inside me shifted. For months, I had been healing, regaining my confidence, and reclaiming my life. But standing there, looking at the broken man who had once destroyed me, I realized I wasn't just healing. I was reborn. Daniel no longer had any hold over me. I wasn't angry. I wasn't hurt. I was simply free. Lisa and I took a cab back to my apartment, and the moment we stepped inside, she grabbed my shoulders, eyes wide. Sarah, she breathed. You just closed the most toxic chapter of your life. I let out a slow breath, then laughed. I really did, didn't I? Lisa grinned. So tell me, what's next? That was the question, wasn't it? For so long, my life had been defined by Daniel. His ambitions, his needs, his betrayal. But now, it was my story to write. And I was ready to start a new chapter, breaking the cycle. The next morning, I woke up to a crisp autumn breeze drifting through my open window. The city below buzzed with life, the honking of cars and distant chatter blending into a familiar symphony. But today, something felt different. Lighter. Lisa had crashed on my couch again, and when I walked into the kitchen, she was already sipping coffee, scrolling on her phone. She looked up and smirked. So, how does it feel to be the most powerful woman in New York? I chuckled, grabbing a mug. Pretty damn good. She set her phone down, suddenly serious. So what's the plan now? No more Daniel. No more drama. Just you. I leaned against the counter, thinking. Then, without hesitation, I said, I'm leaving. Lisa choked on her coffee. Excuse me. I grinned. I'm leaving New York. Lisa blinked, processing. Then she screamed. Wait. Hold up. You're actually doing it. I nodded, my heart pounding with excitement. Lisa and I had talked about it before. How I had always dreamed of living somewhere new. Starting over in a city where no one knew me as Daniel's ex-wife. For so long, I had stayed in New York because it was comfortable. Because it was familiar. Because it was ours. But now, it was just mine. And I was ready to let it go. Lisa grabbed my hands, practically vibrating with excitement. Sarah, this is huge. Where are you thinking? I took a deep breath, then smiled. Paris. Lisa screamed again. You're going to Paris? Oh my God, Sarah, this is iconic. I laughed. I mean, why not? I can work remotely. I don't have anything tying me down here anymore. And I've always wanted to go. Lisa grabbed her phone. Okay, we need plans. Where are you staying? How long are you going? What are you packing? Her excitement was contagious, but beneath all the laughter and chaos, I felt something deep in my chest. For the first time in years, I was doing something just for me. The goodbye tour. The next few weeks were a whirlwind. I wrapped up things at work, finalized my apartment lease, and started saying goodbye to the life I had built here. It was bittersweet, walking through the city one last time, the place where I had loved, lost, and found myself again. Lisa threw me a massive going-away party, inviting all our friends. We danced, we drank, and we celebrated a fresh start. At the end of the night, Lisa hugged me tight, her voice thick with emotion. You're gonna have the best life, Sarah. I smiled, blinking back tears. I already do. A one-way ticket. The morning of my flight, I stood at the airport, my suitcase beside me, staring at my ticket. Paris, France. A one-way ticket. I took a deep breath, the weight of the moment settling in. This was it. I wasn't just leaving New York. I was leaving the past. As I stepped onto the plane, I thought about everything that had led me here. The betrayal, the pain, the heartbreak. And then, I thought about the woman I had become. Stronger, wiser, unstoppable. I took my seat, buckled my seatbelt, and closed my eyes. When I opened them again, I would be in Paris. And my new life would begin. The moment I stepped off the plane in Paris, I knew I had made the right choice. The air smelled different, like fresh pastries, crisp autumn leaves, and endless possibilities. The city buzzed with life, yet it wasn't the overwhelming chaos of New York. It was romantic, charming, alive. I pulled my suitcase through the airport, my heart pounding with excitement. This was it. A new life. A new city. A new me. Bienvenue à Paris. My first stop was the Airbnb I had booked in Le Marais, a beautiful neighborhood with cobblestone streets, cute cafes, and boutique shops. The apartment was small but perfect. Big windows, a tiny balcony, and a view of the city below. I dropped my bags, stepped outside, and took a deep breath. The sun was setting, bathing Paris in a golden glow. I smiled. This was home now. First night, first adventure. That evening, I decided to explore. I threw on a coat, grabbed my purse, and wandered. Paris at night was pure magic. Street musicians played soft jazz. Couples strolled hand in hand. The scent of warm bread drifted from bakeries. I found a charming little bistro and slid into a corner table, ordering a glass of wine and a croque monsieur. As I sipped my drink, I felt something I hadn't felt in a long time. Peace. No Daniel. No drama. Just me, in Paris, living. A mysterious encounter. Just as I was finishing my meal, someone walked into the bistro. Tall, confident, effortlessly Parisian. I wasn't looking for romance. I wasn't here for a rebound. But when his gaze met mine, something inside me stirred. He smiled. I smiled back. And just like that, Paris became even more interesting. The moment his eyes met mine, I felt it, a spark. Not the desperate, all-consuming kind that leads to heartbreak. No, this was something lighter. Something new. He was tall, effortlessly stylish in that Parisian way. A dark wool coat, a scarf draped over his shoulders, perfectly tousled hair. And he was looking at me. A seat at my table. He walked over slowly, a confident ease in his step. Bonsoir, he said, his voice smooth, deep. Do you mind if I join you? His accent was French, but subtle, like he had spent time abroad. I hesitated for half a second. Old habits, old fears. Then I nodded. Sure. He slid into the seat across from me, setting down a leather-bound notebook. I'm Luke, he said, offering his hand. I shook it. Warm, firm. Sarah. He smiled. American. I smirked. Is it that obvious? Luke chuckled. Only a little. Let me guess, you just arrived in Paris? I nodded. This morning. He looked impressed. And already finding the best bistros? I'm impressed. I shrugged, taking a sip of wine. Beginner's luck. Luke leaned back, studying me. And what brings you to Paris, Sarah? The question hung in the air. The old me would have hesitated, would have said something vague, polite. But I wasn't her anymore. So I took a deep breath and told him the truth. I left my old life behind. Luke's expression didn't change, but something in his eyes shifted. Interesting, he said. Paris is a good place for new beginnings. I arched a brow. Speaking from experience? His lips curved. Maybe. There was something intriguing about him. He wasn't just flirting. He was curious. And so was I. A walk through Paris. After we finished our drinks, Luke stood. Would you like to take a walk? It was late. I should have said no. But Paris had a way of making you say yes. We strolled through the quiet streets, past glowing lampposts and ivy-covered balconies. Luke pointed out hidden courtyards, old bookstores, secret spots only a local would know. And as we walked, I found myself relaxing. I told him about New York, about my work, about the choice to leave it all behind. He listened, really listened. And then he told me about himself. Luke was a writer. He had lived in London, New York, but Paris was home. There's something about this city, he mused. It changes you. I smiled. That's what I'm hoping for. Luke stopped walking, turning to face me. His gaze was steady. Certain. It already has. The start of something new. By the time I returned to my apartment, it was nearly 2 a.m. Luke had walked me to my door, and we had stood there for a moment, the air between us charged. But he didn't try to kiss me. He just smiled and said, Welcome to Paris, Sarah. Then he was gone. I closed the door, my heart light. For the first time in a long time, I wasn't looking back. Only forward. And something told me, this was just the beginning.